In life, we all encounter obstacles, and those obstacles come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms. The question is, how do we handle those obstacles? Do we attack them head on, or do we allow them to make us quit? Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast, where we aim to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves, their dreams, or their goals. We will interview successful people from all walks of life as they share their no-quit stories when they had the choice to give up or give in, but they didn't. We hope you find our episodes inspiring, motivating, positive, and thought-provoking. We thank you for listening, and we hope to be that jolt of positivity as you go for your greatness. Welcome to episode number 98 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is having a dream. Our quote of the day comes to us from Colin Powell. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. I met today's guest through another fellow podcaster, and I'm very appreciative for that introduction. One of the things we often touch upon during our show is being only 1 degree separated from your greatness. Isabel Hundt is a woman that is all about having a dream and making it a reality. In today's episode, she shares how she came to the United States from Germany, but it was far from easy, nor was it a direct route at all. She clearly could have given up on many different occasions, but she didn't. She persisted, she kept on going, and even with an expired visa, she never quit. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Isabel, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
I appreciate you being here. So the first question we ask everybody is, are you ready to bring it today?
Yes, I'm slightly tired, but I'm ready to go. I have my Making Magic Happen shirt on, so yes, definitely.
Awesome. I love it. So the number one objective of our show is to motivate and inspire our listeners to never give up. I was curious if either you had a story about perseverance or perhaps a challenging time that tested you, but you kept on going and didn't quit.
I am known as Miss Perseverance. Yes, actually, my story starts when I was exactly 12 years old or somewhere around there, when I had a dream that I have to move to the U.S. I'm originally from Germany. I was born and grew up there. And I never thought I would actually really live that dream at some point. But when I was 18, I came to the US, and then I had to go back because my visa expired, and then I had to figure out a different way how to come back because I really felt this burn on my heart. So I finished my studying in Germany. Failed really badly with economics. I literally got kicked out of university for failing too many exams. And then I started over with social science. So my background is in sociology, psychology, but then I was able to come back in some way. But to make the story short, nothing worked out the way I expected it or thought it would. I came back working as a nanny. I'm literally moved from New York, where I got from New York, and there was a really bad situation with the family I worked for. Then I had to move to San Francisco, same thing there. And then I ended up in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I'm still at, but not in contact with the family that I worked for here. But in all of that, in between, then I met my husband, or my now husband, and he didn't want to get married. So it was crazy. There was no way for me to even say, okay, I found a way to stay here and to really live that dream that I know God put on my heart for a reason. I even had to go to Canada, almost got deported. There was a really not so nice officer who was just plain mean, literally. Everything he threw at my head was quite... I was like, all right, just book my flight, please. I'm done here. I'm done with you. I don't want to come back. But then another officer was so nice, and he's like, let me take a look and see how things work out for you and what we can do. And he found some loopholes and said, hey, promise me that you won't do anything illegal, and I'll make it work for you. And I promised him, and I said it wouldn't help me. I'm supposed to be in front of a couple thousand people. If I would be here legally, I couldn't do my work. And he's like, okay, I'll trust you. And I came back here. And then right before I actually had to go back to Germany, my now husband said, okay, I think I changed my mind. I can't let you go. I know I want to marry you. And that's been That was 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. So it worked out really well. But man, that was some story of perseverance. Like there were so many situations where I just wanted to give up. It's like, okay, why God, why? I can just stay in Germany and have a job and family, just like everyone else. Why can I not have a life like everyone else? Why do I have to go through all this crap? So that's definitely perseverance over a period of, well, let's see, almost 15 years, if not longer.
Wow, it's quite a story, and took many turns and many different places in the U.S. as well as Canada. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. If you wouldn't mind, just give us the 30-second background of who you are and what you're doing today.
Yes. Well, as you know, my name is Isabel Hundt. I am originally from Germany, and again, everything started with that dream. And when I was younger, I had really weird experiences in my life where I out-of-body experiences and how I experienced the world. And over the last couple of years, I realized that I'm an empath, meaning that I'm really highly, highly sensitive and have some really cool and special gifts in how I can work with people. Today, I work with mostly empath and empath warriors. I coined that term because it's the intro extrovert with the special gift. And I also teach and coach on the topic of emotions.
Wow, it's quite an interesting array of what you do. How did you get into that?
It really started with that personal experience. I don't even know, like when I was younger, I told my parents most of the time, it feels like I can see the world I can see it in a snow globe. Like I can see how things work. I knew things that I couldn't have logically known. And I had those out of body experiences. I had a really bad head trauma. And I always say I did it the Isabel way in my bed in the middle of the night. I guess my pillow was a rock. I don't know. But I had a really severe head trauma. I injured my 4th, 5th, and 6th vertebrae. And today I know with all the studying that I've done on the topic of frequency and energy and empath, that this came from taking on too much things. Back then there was the Kosovo War, and we saw all the news about the war, and just the images got stuck in my head, and I took on the pain, and eventually everything I took on from other people ended up in physical injuries in my neck. The 6th vertebra is actually known to be the emotional burden vertebra. Pretty much that's where you store most of your emotional experiences that you take on from other people. And I got too much. And I knew something was different. I saw everything in color, like words, numbers, people, like everything just showed up in color for me. And so over the last couple of years, really having to learn to trust my intuition fully, and then meeting the right people at the right time, I figured out, okay, this is what's going on with me. There is something bigger that I have to do. And it was all in alignment with the dream that I had when I was 12, the visions that I had when I wrote my book 2.5 years ago. And everything just came together. I was like, yep, that's exactly, make perfect sense. And then I studied everything on the topic of empath and energy work. And I know I am a healer. I do clear trapped emotions from people, and I can do that remotely. And I see colors around people, meaning I read people's hearts, like the vibration people send out. My brain translates into color, and each color has a specific meaning that often comes with certain visions for the person. And so that's pretty much how I slipped into it. And then people's like, I relate to what you say. Finally, someone gets me. This is exactly how I feel. And you really helped me through a phase of depression. Most of us do suffer from depression because we don't know what's going on. We just feel so overwhelmed and overloaded. And so I kind of found my way, and I was like, oh, okay, that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. And then my husband said, well, how about you get into coaching? So I went through ICF certified coaching program, got trained really well, especially with the spiritual side of coaching. And that's how my journey started to where I'm at today.
Wow, you definitely have a lot of journeys along the way, and I think we all do. And what doesn't kill you or break you makes you stronger. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. I wanted to ask you a different question. How do you define success?
How do I define success? Success for me is when I know I'm walking my path, no matter what my circumstances look like. If I can really trust my intuition, and can listen to my heart, to my soul, to a divine guidance, that's when I know that is success for me. That is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm making the best of whatever that looks like. That might be a high, it might be a low. But if I know I'm on this path, that is success for me.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being very candid with us. And wanted to ask you, if you had to define yourself in only one word, what would that word be?
Bold. That came to my mind right away. Bold. I have no problem like reaching out to people and like, here, this is what I have. This is what I talk about. And you do have to talk to me. I don't think if I wouldn't be as bold as I am, I would be where I'm at today.
No, I like that. And that definitely is a good word that describes you. One of the things we're looking to do with each episode is to add value to our listeners. And I was curious if you have either a morning or a daily ritual that you swear by.
Oh, yes. Meditation. Oh my gosh. I like that. That's the first thing. I get up, take a shower usually, and then my husband and my 4-year-old son, they know, oh, mommy is meditating. Like my son is always, oh, do you have to meditate again this morning? And so I lock myself in my room and meditate for probably usually about 30 minutes. And that is for me the connection to the day, asking the right questions. What am I supposed to focus on today? What is my priority? How can I serve? And then I start my day. If I don't do that, I can feel how restless I am throughout the day.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because we ask that question almost on every episode. And every single person that we've interviewed, and they come from all different walks of life, all different businesses, ages, demographics, and every single person has something that they do every day, whether it's morning. We had a couple people that work different hours, and it's more of an evening thing, but every single person has something that they do, and they consistently stick by it, and it works for everybody, which is why we asked that question, because it's really interesting to get people's perspectives of what works. And one of the things that I always tell our listeners, and when I do a lot of no-quit living speaking and coaching and training, is to find out what works for other people and to try it, because what might be the best thing for you might not work for me and vice versa. So I appreciate you sharing a little bit of insight behind what you do every day.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite all-time quote?
Oh, I have to be really honest. I probably do, but I'm really, really bad at memorizing things. So even if I would remember the quote, I wouldn't know the author. If I remember the author, I can't remember the quote. Usually it just comes to me whenever I need it. So I don't really have anything specific, again, because I have such trouble memorizing stuff.
I appreciate your honesty. So the word mentor is something that we use, and I think it's often overlooked. I was curious if you had a mentor that played a significant positive role in your life, or perhaps you're mentoring somebody else.
Okay, mentor is something a little bit different than coach, but I do have my coaches. I don't know if I definitely have people that I follow or that I ask for advice, but more significant for me are my coaches. I love working with my coaches. There's always someone on my side where I know they pull me out. They give me the bigger vision that anything that comes up, and they usually are already quite successful in what they do. So I see them as both coaches and mentors.
That's a very good answer. And I think the reason we talk about mentors is I think it's something that's often misguided in the sense of most people think typically a mentor is somebody that's in your life for many, many years. And one of the things that we talked about in our first episode ever, actually with Bob Berg, who was an amazing guest, he talked about the concept of a drive-by mentor. And I had never heard that concept or that idea before. And what he went on to say is that he said sometimes in life you'll have a mentor that could be there for 5 years, 10 years. You could have a mentor throughout your entire professional career. But he also said you might have somebody that's a drive-by mentor, meaning that they're only in your life for a very short time, but it's a very specific reason. So I'm glad you shared what you said, because I've found that some of the most successful people we've interviewed in all different areas, sports, business, professional, they have their own coaches and mentors in different areas of their life. And I think it's important to realize that you can utilize different coaches and mentors for different things. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yes.
Wanted to ask if you could go back and give the 20-year-old version of yourself one piece of advice, assuming that the 20-year-old version would have listened, what would that advice been?
Just listen. be more quiet and listen instead of always trying to make things happen. I think when you're 20, you try to make things happen. You think this is how it's supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to do. If I would have to go back to my 20-year-old self, I would just let it go and be in the flow of life. Enjoy it. Don't get attached to the house, but listen to your intuition.
No, I think that's good advice, and it's probably advice we all could have used not only when we're 20, but before and after that as well.
Yes, true.
So if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
That's a good question, because in the way I see the world, everyone is on that same platform for me. And for me, it's actually a group of people from different backgrounds, different experiences. It's not one specific person that I would choose. I would consciously and intentionally choose people that I don't know, but that have absolute different backgrounds and different life experiences, and get them all on one table and have the most amazing discussion about life and how we can come together.
No, that's an interesting way that you answer it, and I appreciate it, because it is such an interesting question when you think about it, and we've gotten all different answers, people that are dead, people that have died decades ago, and people that are alive, and it's just always interesting, because I think I always take a lot from that question, and I think your answer was spot on, because by having, let's say, those 5 people from all different areas, you're going to learn so much from different people, and I think it's important. So what's the best advice you remember ever receiving?
Oh, the best. There have been a lot that really guided me on the way along the way, really on that path that I'm on today. But I think the best advice that I've ever gotten and that I really have written on my wall is when my coach in the early years said to me, she's like, "Isabel, you're a renegade. You will never do things like everyone else, so don't even try."
I like it. And it's probably better that you learned it early on as opposed to later.
Yes, I think I did the comparison game long enough, or trying to fit in or to buy into every single program to be more successful. And once I let go of that and just like, I'm not going to do it like everyone else. Why can't I just trust myself? That made a huge difference for me.
No, that's interesting that you know it's trusting yourself, but it's also knowing who to ask, and obviously that was good advice for you, because with your Renegade background, it obviously leads you to the way you do things in the future. So I think it's important to look at that, and again have those mentors and coaches that you like and trust, that you know you appreciate, but more importantly, you respect their opinion and what they say to you.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you if there's anything exciting you're working on or about to possibly release.
Yes, the most exciting I am is about a program course about emotions. It's called the Empowered Warrior, a simple guide to successfully navigating through your emotional world. And I think emotions, we as a society, as a world society, are emotionally underdeveloped. We make emotions mean often what they are not. So I wanted to give and create something that is as simple as I can make it, and as tangible as I can have it, so people can just go through and like, okay, what is it that I feel here? Okay, might be anger. What are questions to really reflect on myself within instead of react? If we in our world can react less but reflect more, we can really have a bigger impact and change the world. So I'm excited for that one.
That's interesting. Now, for our listeners that would like to find out a little bit more about that, where's the best way for them to find out more about that?
Well, through my website, isabelhundt.com, there's pretty much everything that you need to know about me and what I do and what I offer. So if you sign up, for example, for my newsletter, you will definitely be up to date on what is happening. But also, if you follow me on social media, again, that's all on my website. How you can follow me, isabelhundt.com, HUNDT. Usually people forget the D before the T. You can definitely stay up to date on where I'm at in the process, when it launches exactly. It depends on a couple different people right now and how we get it together. That's when you have a few people working with you on something, then but we're hoping March should work.
Nice. That'll come out timing perfectly with our episode. And then I wanted to ask you before we let you go, if you have any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners.
Parting words. Definitely. Faith isn't always religious. Faith means spiritual connection. It's that deep knowing, understanding that where I'm at is where I'm supposed to be. So I really want to encourage people to reflect more, to listen more, and to trust their intuition so much more than what we have, like really becoming more quiet instead of buying into the fast-paced society in the busy world. The busier we are, the better we are. It's not true. I think if people really want to make a difference, try to slow down a little bit more and actually learn to listen and to reflect within yourself as well as with the people that you interact with.
No, it's great advice, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And just wanted to thank you for not only your time, but also what you shared with us today. And we'll leave some of your website in our show notes. But I truly appreciate, Isabel, what you shared with us, and definitely look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story.
Thank you for listening to episode number 98. Isabel is quite a persistent woman who came from Germany to the United States via New York, San Francisco, then to Canada, and ultimately arriving in Indianapolis, where she still resides today. As a coach, author, and very successful entrepreneur, I believe Isabel has taken bits and pieces from her journey to the United States and used those experiences to make her the woman she is today. As she was wearing her Making Magic shirt during the recording, it's tough not to feel her positivity towards life and what she does. When I asked Isabel the question, if she could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? She had a great answer. She said it wouldn't be one specific person that she would choose, but instead she would choose a group of people that she didn't know, but those people would all have different backgrounds and very different life experiences. When she was 12 years old, she had a dream of coming to the United States, and when she turned 18, she turned her dream into reality by taking action. In her parting words, Isabel said that faith isn't always religious. She also focused on listening more and trusting your intuition. One of the last things she mentioned was that the busier we are is not always better. Today's call to action is very simple. I challenge everyone to listen more, to trust your intuition, and don't focus on being busy just for the sake of being busy. Have a mission, have a goal, and make sure no matter what, you take action as you go for your greatness. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.